Let's talk about a ghost story from World War II. But this isn't about a spirit, it's about a machine. A B-24 bomber that flew its very first mission in 1943 completely vanished, and then, get this, 15 years later, it was found just sitting in the middle of the Sahara Desert, almost perfectly preserved. It's an absolutely incredible mystery. So picture this. It's 1958, and a British oil survey crew is flying over the Libyan desert, and they spot it. There she is, the Lady Good, belly down on the sand, looking like she could have landed just yesterday. I mean, considering she'd been missing since the height of the war, her condition was just unbelievable. But this eerie discovery, it just made the whole mystery even deeper. Because you see, the plane was there, but the 9 men who flew her were gone. No remains, no sign of a struggle, nothing. Just an empty plane, baking under the desert sun. And that became the central, haunting question that kicked off a years-long investigation. All right, so let's start where the modern story really begins, with that jaw-dropping moment of discovery that basically brought the Lady Be Good back from the dead. The truly shocking part was the location. The plane wasn't found in the Mediterranean, where everyone had looked. No, it was 440 miles inland, deep in the Sahara. They hadn't just missed their base. They'd flown right over it and kept going for 2 more hours into one of the most hostile places on Earth. So how in the world did that happen? Well, to figure that out, we have to rewind the clock all the way back to the day the Lady Be Good and her 9-man crew disappeared into a stormy night sky. This mission was supposed to be their baptism by fire. The crew takes off from Libya, heading for Naples, but the weather is awful, forcing them to turn back. Now, on the return trip, they're lost in the dark, they've got strong tailwinds pushing them faster than they realize, and they make a fatal navigational mistake. They fly right over their airfield, see nothing but the blackness of the desert, and just keep going south, thinking they're still over the sea. Finally, at 2 a.m., the engines die, and they have no choice but to bail out into complete darkness.
So you see, it wasn't just one thing that went wrong. It was this cascade of failures. You had a rookie crew on their very first mission, you had terrible weather, and in all that chaos, their navigator just made a crucial error. That deadly combination sent them hundreds of miles in the exact wrong direction.
So the plane was found, but the crew was still missing. The real breakthrough in this story didn't come for months. And when it did, it was in the form of the most powerful evidence you could imagine. These small, pocket-sized diaries that chronicled the men's final, agonizing days. The diary entries, they paint such a desperate picture. 8 of the 9 men actually found each other after parachuting into the pitch black. Only one man, the bombardier, was missing. They had almost no supplies, just half a canteen of water for all 8 of them. And so they started walking northwest, hoping to hit the coast. Their daily ration, a single capful of water. And the environment they were in, it was beyond brutal. Daytime temperatures could hit 130 degrees Fahrenheit. And as this diagram shows, the heat wasn't just coming from the sun above. Oh no, it was reflecting off the sand, it was radiating from the ground itself, it was literally an oven, attacking them from every direction. After just a few days, the physical toll was absolutely catastrophic. Co-pilot Toner's diary becomes this harrowing account of their decline. They're severely dehydrated, their vision is failing from the glare, and that entry, "all want to die," it just speaks volumes about the hell they were going through. By the 5th day, they have to make a heart-wrenching decision. 5 of the men are just too weak to go on. They have to stay put. The 3 strongest guys, Sergeant Shelley, Ripslinger, and Moore, they're going to make one last desperate push to try and find help for everyone. It was their only hope. And what's just incredible is that they kept going. All told, the remains of the last crewmen were found 111 miles from where they bailed out. That's an absolutely astonishing feat of endurance, walking through the Sahara with virtually no water. But their heroic struggle is also what makes this story a profound tragedy. Because you see, everything they needed to survive, it was just a few miles away the whole time. And here's the terrible, terrible irony. When investigators finally got to the wreckage, they found it was only 16 miles south of where the crew landed. And on board was everything they needed: food, medical supplies, shelter from the sun, and even a radio that was still working. They walked for 8 days away from their salvation, sharing half a canteen of water. And what's so heartbreaking is that their instinct to walk for help was the exact opposite of what desert survival training dictates. Standard procedure is to find shade, stay put, conserve sweat. You don't ration water, you drink it to stay cool. Tragically, because they thought they were lost over the sea and needed to find land, the crew did everything that sealed their own fate. It's really the ultimate tragedy of this story. Their incredible determination to live is precisely what led them to their deaths. Believing their base was to the north, every single grueling step they took was just another step deeper into an empty wasteland and further away from their only chance. So, what's the takeaway from a story like this? Well, I think it's a powerful lesson in human endurance, the incredible dangers of complacency, and, of course, the importance of memory. First off, their sheer will to survive was superhuman. I mean, at the time, medical experts believed a person could walk maybe 25 miles in the desert without water. The men of Lady Be Good walked over 4 times that distance. They completely shattered every known limit of human endurance. But the official investigation points to a different lesson. The crew got complacent. Once they canceled the bombing run, they were so relieved that they just let their guard down. The flight home became routine, and that little lapse in focus led to the big navigational error. It's a stark reminder that complacency can be more dangerous than enemy fire. And yet, in the end, you just can't help but admire their spirit. They never, ever gave up. They faced impossible odds, and as one magazine so perfectly put it, they died trying. After it was discovered, the Lady Be Good was slowly taken apart over the years both by souvenir hunters and official teams. Today, its parts, along with the crew's recovered belongings, are on display in museums, a scattered but incredibly powerful memorial to the 9 men who were lost for so long. The story of the Lady Be Good is a chilling ghost story, it's a survival epic, and it's a cautionary tale all wrapped into one. And it leaves us with this question that just sort of echoes from the sands of the Sahara. In the face of certain death, what really is the absolute limit of our will to survive?